Flood waters drenching many parts of Kenya after weeks of relentless rain. Riverbanks are overflowing, homes are flooded, and entire communities destroyed. These are the immediate impacts of an unprecedented rainy season, and experts say the long-term prognosis is even worse.
We are going to see even more extreme events in the future under a changing climate.
Can you say definitively that all this heavy rainfall and flooding is because of climate change?
Okay, so we cannot attribute a particular event with climate change, but climate change is increasing the frequency and intensity of extremes in our region.
Kenya is caught in a cycle of extreme droughts and intense rainfall, with the El Niño weather phenomenon and climate change exacerbating this year's wet season, leaving more than 200 people dead and thousands of people displaced from their homes.
Runda is one of Nairobi's wealthiest neighborhoods, but they have not been spared. In fact, there are multi-million-dollar homes back there under the water. This is a wall that was swept away. Part of the reason is because these expensive homes were built on riparian land, on riverbanks, against government advice.
Kenya's president said the current crisis is a, quote, direct consequence of a failure to protect the environment.
Scientific evidence indicate that restoring our natural habitats is our best defense against escalating weather extremes.
His government plans to plant 15 billion trees by 2032, but the emissions threat is global.
Countries like Kenya contribute very little to global greenhouse gas emissions, but we're seeing the worst effects here.
Absolutely, that is what the developing countries are experiencing. So they don't have capacity to mitigate these climate extremes.
And the floods are hitting Kenya's poorest communities the hardest.
It's been very appalling just to see the very dire effects that have strongly hit urban poor communities. These are people living in makeshift tents. And so you have water sweeping away their houses.
Jeffrey Mboya is a climate activist from the underserved Nairobi neighborhood of Mukuru Kwanjenga. He says leaders aren't doing enough to wind down the use of fossil fuels or help vulnerable communities adapt.
It's about time that the government and other stakeholders come up with adaptive measures to enable us to live with these conditions. Tomorrow I'm turning 24. In 2030 I'll be 30. And seeing all these effects now really puts me in a scary moment for my future and for my generation.
Larry Madowo, CNN, Nairobi.